Hello, welcome to another episode of Where Are We Wednesday. I'm Jorie Walters. We are in the gallery for George Gray Barnard. I'm going to talk about his childhood growing up here, and I'm going to talk about some of his works that he's had over his career, and talk about some of the pieces here in this collection. This collection actually we've had for many years, but have just had a place for it just since 1991. So let's explore the George Gray Barnard Gallery. The story of George Gray Barnard begins in late 1880s. He was the son of a minister of a church, the First Presbyterian Church, actually the one that just closed recently. His father was a traveling minister, and he brought his family from Pennsylvania to Kankakee, and he only stayed in the area for about 8 or 9 years, but that's when he was a boy. And when he was a boy, he really liked art. He went to Central School, and he was just very interested in that. And then eventually, sculpting became his passion. George Gray Barnard kept a lot of friends from childhood in the Kankakee area. And he thought of this place really as his unique childhood home that he really treasured. He had plans when he did his statues over the years, the plaster ones, to have them be in one place on display in Kankakee and hopefully in a museum. Well, as I said, in 1991, we've had a lot of the statues, but we really did not have a place to really put them until then. So George Gray Barnard came from Pennsylvania, but he studied in Paris, and he loved to do life sculptures. See how big he is, but how big that is. You can see really clear in this one how he is on a full ladder almost up to the top. So he liked Abraham Lincoln. The story went that, at least one story that I've heard, that his wife-to-be was held one time by the future President Abraham Lincoln. So he's had a fascination with him and did all kinds of sculptures with him as the subject. When he was in Europe, he picked up a lot of small items that were kind of in the road and whatnot of medieval origin. So he had a lot of fascination with medieval Europe. Actually, that is a passion of mine as well. He has some very, very unique pieces in our collection. One of them actually became kind of famous. All right, so we have a piece in our collection that is related to Lincoln. This is called the Lincoln Hands. It became famous because it was actually stolen out of our museum several years ago at Christmas time. Now, at Christmas time, we have lots of people in here. We have a big tree in here. And Christmas time is a crazy time at the museum. So we don't know if it was intentional or a prank, but this left our facility. Then, a few years later, this very item was returned to our facility. It was brought to St. Rose Church in a bag that they thought was full of food for Sunday service, and it turned out it was this instead. So they contacted us, and we got it back, hence this article. Now, the FBI got involved in this when we reported it. Now, why in the world would the FBI be interested in this? Well, anything that has to do with presidential anything, the FBI automatically gets involved. So that is one other famous connection for George Gray Barnard and Kankakee and Kankakee County Museum. Now I want to present this particular sculpture. It's very unique. It's called the Soldier in State and Study, circa 1928. The figure and the maquette are said to be representative of all soldiers that died in the First World War. These statues were at one time in the basement of the Kankakee High School. They were in the basement of the, I think, the courthouse as well. Some got abused, some got broken, etc. Well, when they were in the high school, some of the kids really wanted to go in the room which they were in, and they weren't allowed to because of some of the nudity. And there's always been a kind of a tussle between leave a statue natural, the way it was supposed to be, or to cover it up so that the children don't see the nudity. Always been kind of a tussle here. Well, today, all the little kids, when they come into the museum for Christmas or for a tour or whatever, somehow they all know about the statues, and the first thing they ask me is, can we go see the new people, or the naked people? And I'm like, yes, you can on your own time with your parents. They all know about it. So that's just a little backstory to the statues that are a little bit kind of on that spectrum of showing a little too much for some people. So now that you've heard a little bit about his history and a little bit about some of the stories regarding some of his pieces in our collection, let's take a moment to look around at the different pieces that we have. Well, thank you for joining me on another episode of Where Are We Wednesday. I will be going on location for this summer, and I'll be bringing you a lot of exciting places of historical significance in community. Join me next time on Where Are We Wednesday. Thank you.